What's going on, everybody? Peter here, back with another video. Back in the studio, as we call it here. It's a ever developing and hopefully ever improving studio. Got some things I want to change and mix up and add to it. But I of course got the Woody bobblehead and the signed Jim Tressel helmet, mini helmet. Love it, love it, love it. Some awesome artifacts that I want to add to the memorabilia collection in the background. But to get to the task. Today, we're talking, do the Buckeyes have the key elements to win the 2024 National Championship? Now, this video was inspired by former great Ohio State running back Maurice Clarett teaming up with his former head coach, Jim Tressel, on Tressel's podcast, It's All About the Team. And it really all does come down to it being about the team. Can you have that insular and singular focus to come together and bind together and achieve your team goals? Now, as Buckeye fans, we all obviously remember the great upset that it was in the 2002 national title game, dethroning the Miami Hurricanes. They were looking to repeat, and the Buckeyes had different ideas for them that night. Krenzel, Gamble, Jenkins, Clarett, Mike Doss, Matt Wilhelm, Will Smith, and the boys, they got it done and made us all proud. Ohio State as a program, of course, has the most BCS victories of any other program. We have the third most playoff appearances of any other program. We have 5 national title appearances this century. Of course, with 2002, 2006, 2007, 2014, and 2022. Only going, unfortunately, 2-5 in those, or 2-3 in those matchups. Obviously winning only 2 out of those 5 matchups for the Buckeyes. So a program that's been there, that's been consistent. We have been ranked in every single playoff poll. The only other team to do that is Alabama. 60 out of 60 weeks. We're a program that is used to being there. We're a program that is consistently there at the end of the season. They don't always finish it. It gets frustrating moments at times. 2019 Clemson, 2022 Georgia. Of course, 2015 season with the most talent, ever, perhaps, for a Buckeye team and not getting the job done with a loss to Michigan State late in the season. But a team and a program that is always there despite the changes, despite the changes to college football rules, despite head coaching changes. Ohio State has always been there, and I think will always continue to be there. But let's focus on this 2024 season. Also, what Maurice Clarett had to say about what was the key ingredients for that 0-2 team dethroning the Hurricanes. Now, Maurice the Beast Clarett, number 13, came on the scene and took Buckeye Nation by storm. A team that had underachieved the previous 3 seasons, but had a very talented core and then head coach in his second year, looking to turn things around and shape things up for the Buckeyes. Clarett just started smashing freshman records for the Buckeyes. I was at his first game in 2002, the kickoff classic versus the Texas Tech Red Raiders and quarterback Cliff Kingsbury. You guys might know that name. Obviously, Arizona head coach and previous head coach, and the Texas Tech previous head coach. He was the quarterback of that team back in 2002. But Clarett and the boys, they ran right through that Texas Tech Red Raider defense. And they went on an undefeated 14-0 run. So what were the key elements, according to Clarett on this podcast? Well, he said these 3 things. He said an elite defense, a fearless spirit, and Craig Krenzel, the quarterback. Starting out with an elite defense, they had leaders at every single position group that took charge, took no prisoners, and made sure offenses were shut down, starting with star defensive end Will Smith. Wreaked havoc on Big Ten offenses all season and was in the backfield all night on Ken Dorsey sacking him. Of course, with Darian Scott and Tim Anderson as well. They were a force to be reckoned, an immovable force. Matt Wilhelm led the linebacking core. Led the Big Ten in tackles that season, and was just a consummate professional and a playmaker in the defense. Had a pick in that national title game, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, Mike Doss, the do-it-all safety, 3-time consensus All-American, was phenomenal in the secondary, leading Gamble and Donnie Nicky and and all those boys in that secondary. He was the leader of that position group. An elite defense shut down one of the best offenses college football has ever seen since maybe the 2019 Joe Burrow-led LSU Tigers. Now let's talk about that fearless spirit, that feeling that nothing is going to knock you off your game. Nothing will distract you. Not press clippings, not social media. Obviously social media wasn't a thing back then, but press clippings sure were. And Buckeye Nation, the pressure and the noise to perform, not just win, to perform, is unlike most other programs. Alabama rivals it for sure. But the Buckeye fans expect perfection in every game. And obviously that doesn't happen. But they had that fearless spirit that nothing could knock them or deter them from their goals. They were focused. They had a fearless spirit and they played carefree. Focused, but carefree and loose. Not tight and pressure bound, caught up in that pressure. They played above that. Despite all the close contests, lesser teams would have crumbled. Nobody gave Ohio State hope against Miami, the greatest team ever, looking to repeat. And the Buckeyes went in there and shut their mouths with physical play and an attitude that we're going to win, and there's nothing you can do about it. A lot of that fearless spirit came from the calm, cool demeanor of the senator, Jim Tressel himself. A lot of teams reflect the personality of their coaches. It's just reality. And I think to an extent that this Ohio State roster and this Ohio State team has kind of reflected Dave, both the good and the bad. He does kind of seem to tense up in big moments. But Jimmy T, the senator, he was calm and cool as a cucumber. He never panicked. And that 2002 team was in contest after tight contest, and they never flinched or panicked. And then, of course, he spoke about the leader, Craig Krenzel, the leader of the team. Reflected Jim to a perfection. Never shaken. Never wavering in the big moments. He always came through in the clutch. He was not the most gifted athletically. He could extend plays, of course, and he did. He ran for 86 yards in that national championship game versus the Hurricanes. Our leading rusher, by the way. He was so tough. He was so physical. He got hit so many times in that Miami game itself. It was unbelievable how many times he would just get back up, shake it off, and run the next play to perfection. He was a very calm presence on the field. And that quarterback play is so important to win national titles. He was Mr. Clutch before Troy Smith became Super Clutch for the Buckeyes as well. The 2014 Buckeye squad reflected a lot of these same leadership traits as well. They have been disrespected on the national stage a couple times, beaten up by the likes of LSU and Florida in national title games, lost to Texas in a heartbreaker in the Fiesta Bowl in 2008. And, we're coming off the sanctions of Jim Tressel and everything like that, and had won 24 games in a row before losing to Michigan State, and then lost to Virginia Tech, lost in 2014, and lost the bowl game to Clemson in 2013 as well. So they lost 3 out of 4. So they were feeling a little bit disrespected. They came together. They bonded as a team. They found that common ingredient. JT stepped up his leadership. Cardale filled that void. They had great playmakers. It takes elite talent to win national championships. Nobody is denying that. And of course, this 2024 team has elite talent at nearly every position. It takes a chemistry and a bond and united front to overcome the adversity that comes throughout the course of a season, whether it be through injuries, through in-game things happening, big moments and turnovers. Can you overcome the adversity that will come your way? Because it is coming your way in a college football season. There's no question about it. Do the 2024 Buckeyes have what it takes to have that fearless spirit, to have that consummate leader, and have that elite defense? I think elite defense is check. It's certified. Got Tyleek, got JTT and Sawyer coming back. Sonny Styles stepping in the linebacker position. Caleb Downs transferring in from Alabama. Denzel Burke is one of the top returning corners in the nation, not just the Big Ten. Obviously, him and Will Johnson going to be fighting for the first team All Big Ten spots, and definitely on the All-American slots as well. Good or good enough quarterback play can get national championships won when you have an elite defense. The Buckeyes definitely have a defense to win the national championship. They have so much returning production on defense. It's really quite impressive how many people opted to return as opposed to, being eligible for the draft and deciding to come back. It was a phenomenal decision for them, and I'm happy because I'm a college football fan way more than I am an NFL fan. So, do they have the leaders of the key positions? Everybody thinks Will Howard is going to be the starter at quarterback, and he's coming into a brand new team. He's been with them since the beginning of January, of course. So he's gotten to know his teammates. He impresses in interviews. He seems to have a very calm and cool demeanor as well. And hopefully that calm, cool presence will turn into leadership once they see the plays that he starts making on the field. As he distributes the football to all the elite weapons that they have, as long as the offensive line can block for him, of course. So this part of this offseason is really about building trust with his teammates, both on the field and off the field. Do you trust each other? Do you have that tight bond? Is the brotherhood a real thing? I think with this team it absolutely is, because they chose to come back having not accomplished or reached their goals, any of their goals, in the previous 3 seasons. They've been hearing it in person and on social media from former Buckeye alums. Hey, we beat these guys. Why are you guys the short end of the stick? Why can't you guys get it done? That is binding them together. Pressure is building, and pressure is a privilege for this Ohio State team. One thing they need to learn how to do is finish in these big moments. And Day is learning that as well. My trust in him is starting to grow, although it is shaking a little bit, I must admit. He does seem to clinch up in those big moments, and I hope as he has relieved his play calling duties off to Chip Kelly now and keeping it in his hands, I think clutch moments will be coming for the Buckeyes this season. Many players look to their on-field leaders. Do the Buckeyes have the leadership? One of the biggest strikes on Kyle McCord's record last year was his inability to lead and rally the troops. C.J. Stroud had that calm, cool demeanor, but his play on the field proved that he could do it. He had a fiery passion in him at times, which Kyle McCord never showed at Ohio State. He kind of shrunk in those big moments too. Wisconsin, one of his worst games as a Buckeye. Will Howard or whoever takes the snaps at quarterbacks be the guy to calm them on the field? Because that's just as important as looking at your leaders and your coaches on the sidelines. Are they calm in the big moment? Your quarterback, your captains. Can the Buckeyes and Will Howard do it? I think so. And will they have that fearless spirit, that confidence to overcome the adversity that will come in the season? Do they have that fearlessness that they play the game with? A joy, a passion, a determination, a grittiness that will get them over the top in those crucial moments, in crucial games, in big-time situations? It's all going to unfold here in 50 days when Ohio State takes the field for the first time. I can't wait. The Buckeyes have a lot to prove this offseason. Can they win the big games? They've got at Oregon October 12th. They got at Penn State as well, another huge one. And then, of course, the biggest of them all versus Michigan. Now, the conference side of the game awaits hopefully this year for the Buckeyes. It's been a couple years now, 3 years since they played in it. This team has not reached their goals, but I think they have the potential and capacity and the talent and the mindset to do it this year. But it's the talking season right now. 50 days from now, we'll get to the walking part of the season. When games are being played and seasons unfold, can the Buckeyes rise to the occasion? I think they can. More on that to come in the future. Go Bucks and God bless. That's it for tonight. We'll see you on the next one. See you tomorrow for the live at 8:30.